Hello and welcome back to the Garbage Queen of Arkham. We are playing Arkham Horror with Tabletop Simulator. This is the second scenario of Path to Carcosa, which is The Last King. We'll be reading through this momentarily, but between the session, I had 2 experience to spend, and I thought I'd talk you through what I did. First of all, about Adaptable. Adaptable is one of those really nice things that Lola can take because it's a permanent rogue asset. So if you're not running rogues, you can still throw this, normally you can't get access to rogues. Probably, I should preface this, I expect this play session to be I expect you to kind of know how the game works because I got really deep into the rules weeds, explaining every little thing in the first 2 sessions, which I think is fine, but hopefully you saw those 2 if you're watching this one, on YouTube at least, so you will have that to lean back on. Either way, Adaptable is a permanent asset. Costs only 1 experience. That's a little pip in the top corner. And it lets me swap out level 0 cards for different level 0 cards, which you normally can't do. Once your deck is fixed, once your deck is established, it costs experience to swap 0 cards out for level 0 cards, regardless. So this allows you to be a bit more flexible, which is great because I had a lot of complaints about my deck earlier. So with that, I swapped in these 2 meat cleavers, which I thought seemed suitably appropriate for our Garbage Queen. And also, they give her a benefit for running out of sanity, which is cool, but also can help heal sanity. Heal horror, I guess. So I think they'll probably be a pretty good consistent weapon. To do that, I swapped out a combination of these cards. Your deck size can't change when you add extra cards to it, so I also bought Rod of Animalism, so that's 3 cards total going in, so 3 cards had to come out. I don't necessarily think these are actually bad cards, but Chance Encounter I mostly put in the deck because I plan on getting a higher level version of it later, and I don't need this version in the deck to buy the higher level version. There's no benefit of upgrading a Chance Encounter level 0 to a Chance Encounter whatever the level becomes. I can just buy that new card when I need it, so I think it's not a big deal. And I don't really have the assets I need for that yet anywhere, so I think that should be fine. Perseverance is the one that lets me deny damage, which could be potentially super useful, honestly. Also, it's got 2 mind symbols, which might be really nice. I hadn't really considered it. But I'm going to swap these out. I think I'll be swapping other level 0s in for them later in the future. Once it's all about swapping things at the right time, I think, right? If I can swap out a level 0 for something that's more useful, I might still need that level 0 until I get like a higher level thing that's more useful. I don't know. We're going on the seat of our pants. Let's not worry about it too much. The other thing I'm swapping in, or buying for the first time, is Rod of Animalism, which is an Edge of the Earth card, which goes with the dogs specifically. It was printed alongside the sled dogs. That's what it's for. Let's not kid ourselves. It says you have 2 additional ally slots, which can be used to hold creature assets. As a reaction, when you play a creature asset during your turn, you reduce the asset's cost by 1. So if I can get this out early, which I probably can't, but if I can, not only can I reduce the cost of my dogs, which is probably moot because it's costing me 2 to put into play in the first place, but let's ignore that. It also lets me hold not just 2 dogs in 1 slot, but I can have 4 dogs in play across 2 slots and still have an ally slot, which is pretty cool. There's another permanent that you can buy that just straight up gives you an extra ally slot, and I bet in most situations that card is better. But this card's more on theme, so who cares? Also, that card costs 3 experience, and I only had 2 to spend. Anyway, that's what we're doing. So these are getting put in the deck. These 3 are being taken out of our deck. And Adaptable just gets to hang out here. I think I'm going to actually pop this on top. There we go. Now we can read all of these. Beautiful. With that out of the way, let us proceed to set up. Scenario 2, The Last King. If anyone has the answers to the questions that burn in your mind, it's the cast and crew of The King in Yellow. Except for me. I guess I lost my memory. I've actually started sort of headcanoning my Lola as not actually being an actor. Like, maybe they like remember being in this play. Maybe it was like a long time ago or something. I don't know. I think they're like a cool city druid and I'm into it. And they're not really an actress. I don't know. I don't seem to remember what the heck went on with this play. I don't know. I'm into it. Anyway. Where was I? With no other leads to pursue, you put on your best clothes. No, I didn't. And head to 1452 Atlantic Avenue, where a woman named Constance Dumaine is hosting an event in celebration of the play's one-night engagement. In celebration of the play's one-night engagement in Arkham. For setup, we're going to gather all these cards. I think that's happened already. Yeah. Put the 6 locations into play. That's 6. And shuffle the 5 bystander assets depicted here. Ooh, where are those? Are those these? They're bystanders. Perfect. Constance Dumaine, Jordan Perry, Ishimaru Haruko, Sebastian Moreau, and Ashley Clark. It then randomly plays 1 in each location except for the foyer. Place a clue on each of these assets plus 1 additional clue per investigator. So 2. Note these cards are double-sided and have story cards on their other side. For the best experience, do not look at the other side unless an effect instructs you to do so. Set the Diane Devine enemy aside out of play. Place the 5 Sickening Reality story cards underneath the scenario reference card. Where is... Ah, here they are. Great. Note these cards are double-sided, etc., etc. Shuffle the remainder of the encounter cards to build the encounter deck. Very good. Standalone mode. We're not doing that, but just for the sake of being verbose about rules things, all of these scenarios in the game are designed to be able to be played in standalone mode. They have their special setup to imply that you had some history beforehand and the deck is different, right? Randomly choose one of the following tokens, this, etc. It's cool. Anyway, scissors placement. These are the cards. Great. And this we don't do. So that's pretty simple setup. There is this little button here that says Last King Helper for setup. I think that'll randomize these 5 bystanders and put them around for me. So we're going to do that. Woo. Yeah. Great. Here. Does no one go into the foyer? I guess that makes sense. With that, I think we are ready. First things first, Agenda 1A, fashionably late. As you pull up to the manor, you notice that something is wrong. A trail of blood leads up the porch steps, and the front door is smashed. Muted music comes from within the house, its warped and discordant notes painful to your ears. Has the madness of the King in Yellow already made its way here? Discovering the truth. This isn't a party, it's a madhouse. But for some reason, the guests are too deluded to notice. Very few of them are sane, and many are themselves horrors to your eye. Perhaps you can talk to them to learn more about the King in Yellow. Forced. When an investigator is eliminated by defeat or resignation, place each of that investigator's clues on this act instead of placing them at their location. This is generally relevant for a few things. One, it takes them out of the supply if you're playing multiplayer, like your allies can't pick those clues up, which could be a benefit or could be a downside, depends. It also means that that location does not gain your clues, and if you remember before, a location that has no clues is worth points in the victory display at the end of the game if it produces them. So those are a few different interactions of why that might matter. Objective: find as many clues as you can, then get out of this awful place. It is a 1-card act. Interesting. Passion Blade, however, has only 3 Doom before it flips, so I guess we're going to see that second agenda card, probably. Whew. Let's begin. Alright, so I need a few things for setup. Let's shuffle our deck. We have 56 cards now because the Man in the Pallid Mask is in our deck and it does not count towards deck size. We get 5 cards. Okay, what do we have available? We've got a dog, we've got a magnifying glass, that's nice. We've got a bandolier to get extra weapons, which might be nice because we got the boxing gloves. I quite like this hand, actually. The only thing I'm not that pleased about is the Glimmer of Hope, so I think I'll ditch that and draw another. Cool. Alright, so we shuffle this in, and we discard the top 10 due to our short supply. We lose boxing gloves, that's fine. A Occult Invocation. Our Rod of Animalism, a shame. We'll see if we can pull it out of our trash with a card like Scavenging. Prepare for the worst. Resourceful, which can only pull Survivor cards out of our trash, so couldn't hit the Rod of Animalism. Calling in Favors. Act of Desperation. One of our sled dogs, aw. A Fortuitous Discovery, so I'll set that aside because it's useful. I haven't hit any, like, useful from the trash cards. Scavenging, which is the one we wanted, but can't do right now. And Moonstone, which gets discarded, but is not discarded from our hand. So we aren't able to activate its ability. Speaking of discarding things, we need to set things up properly. So I need 5 resources. And I need 1 horror because I got 1 mental trauma last session. All right. We begin, I believe, in the foyer. Let me just double check that. Except in the foyer, place 1 clue, blah, 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 blah. Where does this say investigators start? There it is. Each investigator begins play in the foyer. I always have difficulty finding that in the rules. The entrance hall is lavishly decorated, displaying the wealth of the manor's owners while still creating a welcome atmosphere. "Shall I take your coat?" the doorman asks as you enter. It takes a moment before you realize the doorman has only bloody stumps where he should have hands. Wow! I feel like you should notice that soon. I guess a moment is still pretty fast. I don't know. Foyer. As an action, you may resign. Having found valuable information about the production, you depart and plan your next move. If each undefeated investigator has resigned, proceed to if no resolution was reached in the campaign guide. Well, I can just leave now. Good stream, everybody. All right. What do we have? We've got the ballroom. The distorted music grows louder as you approach the ballroom. Inside, many of the guests are dancing, eating, and enjoying themselves. The courtyard. Looking out one of the windows, you spy the courtyard in the center of the manor. You find yourself longing for fresh air. Or the living room. Cigarette smoke and the sounds of idle chatter drift out of the manor's living room. You feel warmth behind the door. So, I think the most important thing we can pay attention to here is these friends. The impassioned producer, Sebastian Moreau. Jordan Perry, the dignified financer. Need to make sure I get this in screen. There it is. Ashley Clark, the talented entertainer. My rival, probably. I don't know. Ishimaru Haruko, the costume designer. I like her. She's cool. And Constance Dumaine, the sociable hostess. Each of these has a parlay, it looks like, and then a force. When the last clue is removed from Ishimaru Haruko, flip this card over and resolve its text. So these clues are on their cards. I see. Presumably I want to see as much of that text as I possibly can. So I want to flip as many of these as I can. Alright. Well, let's start with what we can do relatively easily. Parlay test 3 mind. Get information about production. And take control of one of their clues. If you have 10 or more resources, You may parlay, testing 2 book. Okay. As 2 actions, you can parlay to listen to the performer, taking control of one of the clues. So, no test, but it takes 2 actions. Interesting. If you have 6 or more cards in hand, you may parlay, testing 2 mind. Interesting. And parlay test 3 book. So book and mind and extra action. Some of them have requirements. Interesting. Okay, cool. Cool. Huh. +1 while investigating. Not relevant if I'm not investigating. I think there probably are still clues around, I imagine. I would guess. But, yeah, that's interesting. I need to choose my role. I didn't do that yet. Was I supposed to do it before? After you draw your opening hand, choose a role. I was supposed to do this before I discarded these cards. I think that's fine. It's not affecting my hand. I'm going to choose Guardian. Because I have some Guardian cards. I'm just going to play both of these, I think, and then probably move. Yeah, I'll do that. Alright, I'm just going to do that. So for 3, I'm going to play Boxing Gloves, which takes up both of my hand slots. But then I'm going to play my Bandolier, which will give me an extra weapon slot. Well, a hand slot can only hold weapons. So I couldn't, I don't think, I'm not entirely sure how this works. I think I am allowed to say one of my hands is taking up the Boxing Gloves and the other hand is being taken up by the Bandolier. And then I could also have the magnifying glass. That seems silly to me, but I'll allow it. This is a fast item, which means it doesn't take an action to play, so I'm not really needing to get it into play immediately, which is nice. And Sled Dogs would be nice, but I don't really have the... I would rather have 2 before I even bother investing in any of them, because they don't really do much until you have 2. With that out of the way, I think... Oh, hey, there's a clue here. And I'm going to come back here later, it's fine. Let's go talk to Ashley Clark. I feel like that's the easiest thing to do, and I want to get at least one thing done, so let's start there. I'm going to move to the courtyard. Oop. Forced. After you enter the courtyard, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If that card is an enemy, draw it. There's enemies at this party? What was first a wave of relief upon exiting the manor turns to dread. Dozens of yellow eyes stare at you from the building rooftop, and shapes loom in the clouds above. Oh, that's not great. I don't think I shuffled this yet, so let's do that. I get... Okay. Yep. We got this guy. Maniac. Humanoid. Lunatic. Forced. After Maniac engages you, take a damage and deal a damage to Maniac. Ah, so they have 4 health, but they take 1 immediately, so they kind of have 3 health. Unless you're able to knock them out without ever engaging them, in which case they would have 4. Interesting. That's just straight up damage. That is brutal. Alright, I mean, I can't do anything about it. That just happens. It's not even an attack. You can't even cancel it. It spawns at this location, which means it automatically engages with me. I don't know what Ashley's doing, but whatever. Yeah, great. So I'll take 1 damage. I can't... yeah, okay. Brutal. I'm at 1-1 already. Not a fan of that. Alright, that is our turn, and this guy's just going to punch me again, because I walked in here on my last action. Not a great start, I have to say. And we should probably just go. Alright, cool, great. Monster phase, they attack me. Upkeep, we will draw. And then we'll draw an extra card for our Forced Learning. And I will discard Winging It. Sweet. Great. This is 1-2 punch. Lets me fight good. Yep. That's what that does. Cool. Alright, so yeah, good. I'm a little flustered. Let's increase Doom to 1 out of 3. And draw our encounter card. Oh, good! Ancient Evils. Place a Doom on the current agenda. This effect can cause the current agenda to advance. It's not advancing, at least, but this is a brutal start. Okay, good. We're up to 2 Doom out of 3. Get out, get out, get out of my head. I mean, that's reasonable. It's a shame there's no non-lethal way of dealing with this guy. I mean, you can evade them, and they don't hunt, so you theoretically could just evade them and then leave. But every time they engage you, they hit you again. That's brutal. Alright, their DC is 3, and 1-2 punch lets me swing at +1. If I succeed, I swing at +2. So I'd have to win at a plus... Yeah, I don't even have the resources, even if I wanted to. Yeah, I guess we're gonna evade. Brutal. Alright. Well, I mean, I do have this, but you don't have the resources. Oh, right, we were just talking about that. I don't have the resources, yeah. No, you're right. Okay. So, but to go over boxing gloves, they let me get +1 fighting, but they don't give me any extra damage. If I'm in Guardian, and this is important, if I'm not in Guardian, I can't use the reaction ability that you see there, the little arrow that's circling on itself. But if I'm in Guardian, which I currently am, after I defeat an enemy, I can exhaust the gloves to search my top cards for a spirit event. Add it to my hand. And I have a decent number of spirit events. Not the most, it's just sort of like a sub-theme, but like this, for example, is a spirit event. So that's cool. Anyway, I guess I evade this. But if I'm just going to take the damage again. I guess every time they engage you, they lose 1 health, right? So they can only do that so many times, but whew. Alright. Cool, let's start. It's also, I can't even, like, evade and then do this. And then leave. I don't have enough actions for that. Her voice is beautiful and full of passion. If only you knew what the lyrics meant. If only. Do I have any way of actually beating them? I mean, I could hit them 3 times at +1 with my boxing gloves. That seems unlikely to work. I mean, you could start doing it and see what happens. I guess that's true. This seems like a bad plan. Let's do it. Alright, I'm going to attack. I'm 1 up. I have not read what today's flavor is. The Last King. Reveal another token. If you fail, place a Doom on a lunatic enemy in play. Oh, that's not good. That's a bad thing. I'll just copy that card for easy reference. Okay. I fail. So the agenda does not advance. And it was going to advance next time anyway. So this Doom's actually irrelevant. So this is fine. This is totally fine. I guess. Let me just double check my math. I'm at 4 because of the fists. The DC is 3. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Cool. So they gain a Doom. Just these little tokens. Worth pointing out, because I didn't realize this the first time I played the game, all Doom in play adds towards the Doom requirement for the agenda cards, not just the Doom on the agenda card. It's just that all agenda cards always gain a Doom per round. Yeah. You also only check for Doom flipping the agenda card at that point in the game, after Doom is added to the agenda card. So I think I will evade and get out of here, because this is not great. Evade, I'm only 2 up. Great, that's a success. This guy's evaded, which is not amazing. Luckily, when Doom advances, all Doom in play gets removed, even if there's excess. At least that's what I've been told, and I believe it. Alright, where do we want to go? Do we want to go to the ballroom, or do we want to go to the living room? I don't have enough cards to do Ishimaru's thing, but it is easier. So I mean, yeah, I can draw a card. I'll be at 5. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to move over here. Oh, I guess I could also head up to the top. I hadn't really thought. The gallery or the dining room. Sorry, you can't see those. Dining room. Gallery. Constance. Yeah, no, I think that's the right play. I think that's the right play right in here. Okay. Cigarette smoke. After you perform a parlay action in the living room, draw a card. Oh, look at that. Do it once per, limit once per phase. That's great. Love this. Okay, this is so much nicer. I should have come here the first time. Alright, we move to the monster phase. This guy hangs out. I think they technically will ready, but I think they technically ready in the upkeep phase. I'm not entirely sure how that works. And I'm going to move to upkeep. Okay. I don't think I have a window. Even if I had... So, I don't have the resources to do this anyway. But if I did, I'm pretty sure I don't have a window to use this quick action. Actually, there's a reference for quick actions over here. So, this is the investigation phase. This is the enemy phase. Upkeep. Upkeep phase begins. Then you have a player window. Then you reset your actions. Then you ready each exhausted card. Then each investigator draws a card and gains a resource. Even if there was like a quick action in there somewhere, there wouldn't be a quick action between drawing drawing 2 cards and discarding one, because that's all one effect. So it would be completely, yeah. There's 0% chance that would have been possible, even if there was one. So I can't do my Moonstone shenanigans. Again, I don't even have the resources, but if I did, is what I'm talking about. Cool. So Moonstone, I think, yeah, I'm gonna ditch the Moonstone. Track shoes are great. So that's both Moonstones are in the trash now, but I do have track shoes in my hand. This one was in my deck last time. We didn't see it. I didn't draw it, but it was there. I love this one. It's just +1 foot. It's just a passive +1 foot. If I'm in Survivor, I can also do some cool movement shenanigans. Love that card. Good card. Okay. Let's move on. This friend readies. Boop. And we advance. That was fast. All Doom in play gets removed, including this one. Great. Luckily, this guy does not hunt, even though they were exhausted. They would have not hunted anyway, but let's ignore that for now. Fashionably late. Ah, if it isn't our final guest, the doorman announces. Miss Divine, your presence here has been long awaited. The woman wears a devilish dress and a similar grin. You swear you've seen the symbol on her amulet before. Well now, the real party can begin, she declares, then heads off to mingle with the other partygoers. Find the bystander asset with the fewest clues on it. Spawn the set-aside Diane Devine enemy at that asset's location. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. That's really interesting. So if I'd made progress, they would have shown up. There. I mean, they're still going to show up, but there she is. Diane Devine. Mercurial and mischievous. I haven't pointed this out. All of these are technically... No, these are not. These are assets. Okay, so these are actually assets, which is interesting. They're not enemies. Whereas this is an enemy, but it's an enemy with aloof, so it's not going to be fighting us. Each investigator Diane Devine's location cannot discover or take control of clues. At the beginning of the enemy phase, find the bystander asset with the fewest clues on it. Move Diane Devine to that asset's location if able. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, let's, it doesn't move all the way. It's not move one step. Nope, just move. Okay. Yeah, we will put you, I guess, over here, like the longest distance to get to me. I assume that's a good idea. I don't know. Seems like to me. Great. What's the next step say? The terrifying truth. More and more, this place continues to fall into madness, transforming before your very eyes. When this agenda would advance by reaching its doom threshold, instead, remove all doom in play and randomly resolve one of the Sickening Reality cards underneath the Scenario Reference card. That's these. I don't know where the Scenario Reference card is, but I guess it's this maybe? That would make sense. If there are no cards underneath the Scenario Reference card, advance to Agenda 2B instead. So it's 3. But it'll happen 5 times before it explodes. Cool. Great. Let's draw our... Wait, did I did tick the Doom up. Yes. Okay, cool. Okay. Encounter. Dance of the Yellow King. Revelation. If there are no lunatic enemies in play, there is one. This gains search. Otherwise, test 3. If you fail, the nearest one moves 1 location at a time until it reaches your location and engages you. Then makes an immediate attack. Alright. I'm going to test 3. Okay, let's draw another card. Okay, that's -2. That's a failure. And Doom. I'm going to lose this one very badly. Very good. Alright. This guy moves towards me. Rawr. They engage me. Rawr. And they attack me. So they take 1 extra damage. I take 1 extra damage. And then they attack me. So I take another extra damage. Last time I took almost no damage, and I only took horror. The opposite is very true this time. I'm not doing well. Okay. Anyway, this is done. Okay. So, you can still take parlay actions while engaged with someone. I kind of hadn't thought about that. Yeah, that's cool. I do not have 6 or more cards in hand right now. I was thinking I could draw a card on my turn, but yeah. I only need to do 2 damage to knock this guy out. And I still have 1-2 punch. It's not... I'd rather be using it on something else, but I feel like I need to get rid of this guy, so... Yeah, let's spend the 2 resources on 1-2 punch. I could just attack twice, but I'm only 1 up each time, and we've seen how well that's gone in the past. So, 1-2 punch, fight, you get +1 for this attack. If you succeed, you may fight the enemy again. You get +2, and deal an additional damage for that attack. Which is more health than they have, but good chances of succeeding, so let's go. Anyway, that's an auto fail. So I don't get the second attack. Not to mention the first attack whiffs too. Okay. I mean, I guess I just attack them. I guess. Alright. I'll make a basic attack. I'm 1 up. That's a success. Okay. And they have 1 health remaining. I'll attack again. That's a success. Okay, we knocked them out. That was stupid. Okay. This Doom goes away. So that's a nice thing. If knocking out the enemy causes the Doom to go away, which is good. So we're not nearly as close to dooming out again as I was thinking. But that's my entire turn. So, yeah. Although, I do get to tap this to look for a spirit. So that's fun. After you defeat an enemy, exhaust boxing gloves. Search the top 6 cards of your deck for a spirit, add it to your hand. Now, will I find one? 6 out of 36 cards. Odds aren't great, but we'll still do it. Why not? Let's take a look. We got our dogs. That's not a spirit. 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 This is a spirit, but that's 7 cards deep. So that's pretty good. I like that. That's fun. Good job. Good. Then we shuffle the deck, right? I assume. It'd be weird if we didn't. Good. Good. I'm gonna move to upkeep, except the beginning of the enemy phase. Move this to the bystander asset with the fewest clues on it. They're all tied still. So, yeah, she'll just stay where she is. That's great. Good. Upkeep. Draw a card. Okay. This isn't bad. I'm gonna have to switch roles, but I'm gonna have to switch roles anyway. Honestly, I probably should have switched roles before the end of my turn. This is once per round. Oh, interesting. Can I actually do that? Let's look at our handy guide again. This is when the round ends, and there's no quick windows after drawing. Ah, that's a shame. That would be fun if we could do if I could do it right here, but I can't. That would have been actually really cool. Anyway, did I just draw both of these? I did. I need to put one in the trash. I was thinking that I got to keep both. I do not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So this goes in the trash here. Very good. Let me just double check. This location has no clues, right? Yeah. All right. I do actually have to just do these. These investigate cards are not going to be useful, I'm realizing. All right. Moving on to Doom. We'll go up to 1, and we are going to draw another friend. There it is. Now, luckily, our the 1 Doom left play. Otherwise, this would have advanced immediately. But here, it won't be advancing until next turn. So that's something. And nothing else happens. It doesn't have like surge or anything terrible. So that's nice. Okay. Okay. What do I do? I think I do just sort of draw cards and then try and parlay with her twice. If I can get that to work, that would be really, really nice. So let's spend our first action to draw. Okay. Ooh, this could actually be useful. I could pull something out of the trash. That might be nice. Do I do it now? No, I don't do it now. Unfortunately, nope. I guess that's the thing. Divine is going to teleport over here. If I only get 1 clue, she's going to stop me from getting the second one. But if I don't get only 1 clue, if I get both of them, she's just going to hang out and be annoying. But she's not going to attack me. She's not going to engage me. Yeah, sweet, great. I think that's the play. I am going to take advantage of the fact that I can swap this and swap it to Survivor. Flip that over to indicate that I've done so. I'm not playing any of these cards, even though I would like to, because I would like to do the parlay first. So, unfortunately, I'm only 1 up again. Is this dumb? This might be bad. And I can't even really... I mean, I could commit something, but I'd only get to do that once. Because then I can't try again. I might be bad at this. I'm going to try it anyway. 1 up, parlay. That succeeds. Okay. If you have 6 or more cards in hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I do. Believe me. No, I don't think you can see that in my overlay. My overlay is kind of a mess. Parlay, test 2, which I did. To question Haruko about the play. If you succeed, take control of one of the clues on Ishimaru Haruko. Very good. I got a clue. It has not been a total waste yet. We haven't had a total failure. I could leave right now. Alright. One more attempt. And this time I could commit something. Ooh, actually, I think I will. That's a good idea. I like that idea. Because I don't need to have the cards in hand. So I'm going to commit Glimmer of Hope for 1 extra up. I'm 2 up this time. I'm 2 up this time. I succeed. No doom happens. I don't think it would anyway because there's no enemies in play. But still. I assume that Divine is not considered... Yeah, okay. She's a cultist, but she's not a lunatic. Sweet, I did it. Yeah, nice. That feels good. I like that. Not a total loss. Forced. When the last clue is removed from Ishimaru Haruko, flip this card over and resolve its text. My, what a bold choice of dress. I know, I'm the garbage queen. My tattered rags. The pattern. In speaking with Miss Ishimaru, you discover that she designed all of the costumes worn in tonight's performance, save for one. That stranger character, peculiar role, is it not? For whatever reason, Mr. Engram would not allow me to change his outfit, not one bit. And that mask, she scoffs. Did you know one time I found that actor? I don't even know his name. I found him drawing a strange pattern behind the backdrop for the second act. You know, the one with the 2 suns? He gave me a terrible stare, and I dare say I jumped right off the stage and ran. You ask what the pattern looked like, and she finds a nearby napkin and begins to draw. Her recreation is much more detailed than you expected. Rings of concentric semicircles lined with strange runes. And at the center is a pair of wavy lines. You ask her what it means, and she shrugs. Haven't the slightest clue. Remember that you interviewed Haruko. Flip this card back over to its bystander asset side. I like to use these notes. Boop. Great. Alright, that's my turn. Sweet. Not so shabby. But we move to the monster phase. Is it called the monster phase? Enemy phase. That makes way more sense. That would be weird if it was called the monster phase. Monster is a type of enemy. Anyway, yeah. Teleports over. Hello? I heard you talking about something interesting. Mind if I cut in? That's about dancing. That's not relevant here. Ah, it's fine. Alright, cool. We are going to upkeep. We're going to draw an additional card. And, honestly, I don't think Fortuitous Discovery is going to come up. So far, clues have not been much of a thing. So, and even when they are a thing, as we learned from last session, since I'm solo, getting extra clues is less useful than I would expect it to be. So, weird. Anyway, Fortuitous Discovery, we're putting you in the trash. If I need to fight somebody... Although, honestly, I'd rather Improvised Weapon be in the trash. Yeah, I changed my mind immediately. Improvised Weapon, you're in garbage now. Let me just put this aside. We don't need this. Go away. Okay. Alright, that's my draw. Doom advances. When the agenda would advance by reaching its Doom threshold, instead remove all Doom from play, randomly resolve one of the Sickening Reality cards underneath the scenario reference card. Alright. Here they are. First one is Sickening Reality. Encore! Encore! The crowd shouts as Alicia finishes. That's not Alicia. Ashley finishes her final song of the night. Deciding to stay for one last number, she nods at the pianist. The song that follows is excruciating. Her once beautiful voice is now a wailing screech with unnatural pitch. Her skin has tightened hideously around her bones, and insects begin to eat their way out of her arms and shoulders, crawling over her body. The crowd is loving this performance. Each investigator at Ashley's location takes a horror. I'm not! Move each clue from Ashley to her location. Ah, okay. So there is value. Very cool. Flip this card to its enemy side and switch it with the bystander asset version of Ashley Clark, removing that version from the game. So I would like to just point out the wording on this implies that each clue is moved from Ashley Clark, and therefore the force would go off. I know that's not correct, but I feel like that's a weird choice of wording. Anyway, great. These go here. So getting clues is going to be relevant. That's fun. I like that. 5. Okay, sure. That's fun. It's anytime you enter as well. It's not just when it gets revealed. Oh, this is going to be awful. Okay. Ashley, good knowing you. Ashley Clark. Songs die unheard. Monster, lunatic, elite. Hunter. Each investigator at Ashley Clark's location does not draw cards during the upkeep phase. Huh. Do I? Instead of drawing a card, draw 2 cards and discard. I assume that, first of all, you didn't draw cards so you can't instead draw 2. Second of all, I think that any source of card draw during the upkeep phase would be denied by that ability. That's my understanding of the rule. I don't know if that's true or not. Interesting. Songs that the high days shall sing, where flap the tatters of the king, must die unheard in dim Carcosa. Victory 0 means that if I defeat them, I won't get any experience for it, but I will remove them, put them in the victory display so they won't go into like the discard pile or something, which could be relevant. Cool. Great. Wow. I don't know where to go from there. I do know, however, that I still need to draw from the encounter deck, so let's just do that before I think about this any further. Marked by the sign. Peril. Revelation. Test 2. If you fail, take 2 horror. If the Man in the Pallid Mask is in play, horror dealt by this effect is considered direct, and this test is +2 difficulty. Well, I'm glad they're not. That would be really bad for me. Great. So Peril, just as a rules overview, means that I can't discuss the card with my allies if that's relevant. And it also means no one can help me, I'm pretty sure. They can't, like, commit cards, because you can commit cards to your allies most of the time. Only 1 per test, but you're allowed to do that generally. Obviously, that's not relevant right now, but just for the sake of knowing how that works. This one doesn't really have, like, a choice. Usually perils have, like, a choice, and therefore it's, like, you can't discuss the choice, and that's important, which is cool. I'm into that. But in this case, it's kind of weird that it's a peril. Anyway, test 2. That's a fail. Good. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should have committed something to that. Oh, well, I didn't. Yeah. I really need to get some stuff in play. I can't wait for Bandolier to give me +1 to my mind. I'm really looking forward to that, but I can't afford that experience right now. Okay, so what do we do? If we walk in here, Ashley's going to jump on us. Ashley's going to hunter towards us anyway, so that's not great. Can we do anything about that? I guess not really. Also, if I enter that room, I'm going to get attacked by, like, a random monster enemy. It doesn't have to be an enemy. It just discards something, and if it is an enemy, you draw it. I have no idea how often those are enemies going to happen. Then we also got our Constance Domain, which I could head out there, but I will get attacked by Ashley Clark. I think I want to get some assets in play, unfortunately. Yeah, if I can get these shoes in play, which cost an extra resource, so I might have to spend 1 resource to get them in. I can also say after I move, but before enemies engage you, exhaust them and move again. Odds of succeeding at that test seem unlikely, Albeit 4-3, not great odds. But I could run right through here. Except I'd be spending a resource, then playing the shoes, then moving. So they're going to hunt into me anyway. So, actually, they can hunt everywhere. Literally, it doesn't matter where I go, they can hunt into me. If I hadn't just taken that 2 horror, the 2 horror wouldn't look so bad. Oh, Glimmer of Hope is discarded. I just because we investigate by 2 or more. That's just like, that's not happening. Why? Okay. Dang. Alright. Can I... They only have 2 fight, but they have 5 health. Okay, that's interesting. I haven't drawn any of my, like, fighting weapons, which is disappointing. If I went in there, they engage me. I do have to deal with potentially another enemy, but we'll deal with that when we deal with that. I could then use the improvised weapon. That does 2 damage. I would then have 1 action left. If I had a second improvised weapon, that's not a terrible plan, but I don't. I could pick these 2 cards up with an action, then move, and then evade her. If you're going to do that, I think you'd rather get the track shoes in play. I don't have the resources for track shoes. True. That's a good point. I do also have improvisation. Until the end of your turn, reduce the resource cost of the next card you play of your roll by 3. You know what? I need to be using this card more. This card's really good. It's a fast card. It draws a card. And it reduces something by 3, which could be really useful. Even if I don't need to change my roll, that's a discount of 3, right? I could play this to play my shoes for free. That's not terrible. I'm going to try that, I think. Let's give it a shot. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to improvise. It's a fast event, meaning that it doesn't take an action. I will switch my role to Survivor. I assume that's legal. If it's not, I'll flip this thing over and then I'll do it. I don't know. It says switch your role. I have no idea if that requires me to not be in the role that I want to switch to. I don't think it super matters. Anyway, I'm going to draw a card. Hey, sweet. Look at that. Another improvisation. We're then going to play track shoes for free. They don't take up any slot. They're just, you just can't have more than 1 footwear on at the same time. So that's kind of cool. Interesting choice. That's 1 action total and no resources. If you wanted to, you could still pick up these 2, move, and then try to evade them. I wish I had some place I could go so that they would leave the courtyard and then I could walk into their space and evade them, but as it is, they're just going to hit me if I let them walk onto me. And there's nowhere I can hide from that. So I think this is worth it. All right. I spent 1 action. Oh, I couldn't move and evade them at the same turn if I choose to pick up the Glimmer of Hope. So I think we just have to have +1 be enough. I could improvise to get extra symbols. I could commit these 2 question marks if I really need to. All right, let's go. I move. Oh, she has 4 evade. Why'd I do this? Okay. Before she engages me, Forced. After you enter the courtyard, discard the top card of the encounter deck. It's a tough crowd. Cool. That's fine. Nothing happens. Sweet. And Ashley Clark says hi. She's like, hey, you left my performance early. What the heck? Why'd you do that? Someone was punching me. That's no excuse. All right. Good. I have one action left. My odds of actually evading are very slim. Crap. This might have been a bad idea. I'm just going to evade her next turn anyway. Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. No, you're right. 2, 3, 4. I can do like 4 damage if I'm lucky. Ugh. Yeah, doing bad. All right. Yeah, sure. Let's dance. I'm going to evade just as is. And we'll hope for the best. I love hoping for the best. You know what? The beautiful thing about an auto-fail is that it doesn't matter. If I had over-invested, that would have been all a waste. So I feel justified in doing the absolute bare minimum. Alright, cool. For those keeping track, that's 2 auto-fails, no Elder Signs. Hey! Alright, we always like to keep track of that. It's fun. Anyway, in the monster phase, first of all, at the beginning of the monster phase, Diane Devine says, I want to find the bystander with the fewest clues, and she's already there. So, I don't really get this ability. I guess once, assuming that all of these cards are flipping all of these people, it seems to be the case. There's 4 of them left. Then she'll choose a new target to move to. But for now, she's just going to hang with Ishimaru, which is great. Anyway, yeah, Ashley hits me for 2. I go up to 5. This is bad. I should just leave. I feel like I've done absolutely nothing so far, but also, like, leaving would be a really smart idea. Also, I usually go to 7:30, and it's almost 7:30, so maybe, yeah, you know what? Let's just do that. Okay. Let's go to upkeep. Draw a card. Draw an additional card. Okay. Occult Invocation is something. This attack uses Book instead of Fist, which my book's worse right now, but that's fine. You get +1 and deal +1 for each card you discard during it. I can discard up to 2. I mean, I could kill her with that. Interesting. Well, let's see what terrible thing... Oh, I need to decide which of these cards to keep. They're both punching cards. +1. Then attack... 1-2 punch is better, right? Yeah, 1-2 punch is better. Okay, cool. Call invitation. Goodbye. Okay, Doom. Doom goes to 1. That's convenient. I like that. That's a good low number. A young psychopath. Keep at it. Yeah. Humanoid Lunatic Forest. After this engages you, you must either take a horror, I would die, or it gets +3 fight until the end of the investigation phase. I'm going to choose that one. Yeah, I'm going to choose that one. Wow, I almost just died. Okay, cool. Okay. So, I would like to kill Ashley using 1-2 punch, which will do 3 damage if both attacks hit. And then I could also use improvised weapon for 2 more. That's 5. I'm already in Survivor. Then I can swap rolls between the 2 attacks. Then, Young Psychopath is going to... I have one action left, and I could evade them at 1 up. I could also... I could spend, like, a card. I could commit a card. This is a lot of tests at not very much up. But I think that's the play. I think it's the play. Yeah. 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 That's the play. That's the play. Wow. I really was hoping to get some dogs into play this time. And like last time I did. Not so much. Not happening. Unfortunate. How much does this cost? 1. I have 3 resources. Perfect. Okay. We're going to start with Improvised Weapon. You may play this from your discard pile. Fight. Enemy gets -1. So their fight of 2 becomes 1. Oh, I forgot how low their fight is. Oh, yes, I'm into this. This is great. Attacked enemy gets -1 fight for this attack. If you played Improvised Weapon from your discard pile, it also does +1 damage. Okay, draw another card. Oh, this is like the first time the other side's ever been relevant. I don't know if it's actually going to be relevant, but it lets me swatch my rolls, which I'm planning on doing. Did I say swatch? I did say swatch. Alright, so we succeed. We put 2 damage onto our friend here. Good. And this card gets shuffled into our deck, and we're going to swap our roll to Guardian. That was 1 into action. Now we will try again. I'm so dead. So dead. I'm going to play this. It's going to cost me 2. And I get to fight with +1. If I succeed, I may fight the enemy again. This time I get +2 and do +1 damage. So, let's go. That's -1. That succeeds. I hit for 1. I get to attack again. That also succeeds. I hit for 2 damage this time. That's 5 total. We knocked them out. Sweet. Since I'm in Guardian, when I knocked them out, I can actually activate my boxing gloves. That's rad. Sweet. Okay, I'm into this. This is I'm not really turning the corner, but I'm like, I don't know, stabilizing, I guess. I get to look at the top 6 cards of my deck. Alright, search. That's not a spirit. That's not a spirit. That's not a spirit. That's not a spirit. I wish I had that. That's a weakness. And, one more. That's not a spirit. Alright, cool. I don't have a ton of spirits. It's just kind of a perk if I happen to get it. That's not what it's there for. Okay. I have 1 action left. If I move, I die. I need to evade them. I mean, yeah, that's it. That's literally all it is. Okay. So, I have a total of 4 feet due to these effects. The DC's 3. I am in Guardian, but I haven't used my swap once per round. If I happen to have another symbol, I don't have another symbol, so it's not super relevant, but, you know, in theory, it could have been. Can I say the improvisation should have me switch my role after I draw the card? Because I'd be tempted. I would be very tempted to play this. I'm not going to. It'd be a bad idea in actuality, but I'm tempted. Alright, we're going to use improvisation for +2 icons and evade. Didn't need it, but glad I had it. Alright. Young Psychopath gets evaded. She's going to ready and grab me again afterwards anyway. Wait. Okay, so she's going to actually re-engage, so she's still going to be at +3 fight. That's fine. That's okay. That's fine. That's okay. Yeah, it's fine. I hadn't thought of that, but yes. Cool. Any other monsters I'm forgetting about? I don't think so. Very good. Moving on to upkeep. 1 extra card. Hey! I did remember to shuffle that deck. I'm 100% sure I did. Okay, good. We'll get rid of winging it. We don't need you. Although, while we're here, it might be nice to actually get that. Shame I don't have any symbols. I'm just going to have to try this flat out, aren't I? Dang it, why can't I get that in frame? Come on. There it is. Yeah, I'm gonna have to evade again. I hadn't really thought about that. I mean, I did know I was gonna have to evade again, but I don't have any, like, anything to commit this time. Unfortunate. Doom goes to 2. How many Ancient Evils are in the deck? Dance of the King in yellow. There is a lunatic enemy in play. I test 3. If I fail, they ready, they move until they reach your location, then they engage you, and they make an immediate attack. Does that count? They didn't move. Does that count? No, they move until they reach you. It's not a period, but, like, effectively, period. They engage you, and they make an immediate attack. I mean, like, yeah, that still works, right? Like, the make an immediate attack is a separate effect, even though the other things didn't happen. I assume? Huh. I was reading an interesting article about, like, the then rule. Like the terminology then on card text means, like, the thing before it has to happen. But this does not use the word then. It says and. So, yeah, I think that's intentional. Okay, cool. So that's, not great. Looks like that's going to attack me if I fail a 3 test. So I need to not fail that 3 mind. That's all there is to it. Nice knowing you, Meat Cleaver. I need this. I'm 1 up. Yeah! We did it! It's not like I had time to play the Meat Cleaver anyway. Oh crap, I couldn't have done that. I'm not in Survivor. Is there a quick window when you make it, like, I feel like I remember reading there's a quick window whenever you move to make a test. Is that a thing? Is that a real thing? This is all about the investigation phase. Mythos. Each investigator draws a card. Player window. Is there a window between drawing the card and resolving the card? There's a little player window there, but when does that happen? Does anybody know? I'm looking at chat this time. Before and after revealing tokens. That's what I'm reading in chat. I'm going to take your word for it. Thank you, S. Aldrich. It's a separate chart for skill tests timings. Cool. Thank you, Voltglass. I'll look at that later, but for now, I'm just going to say, yes, I had time. I used my quick action here. I'm switching to Guardia. It's a Survivor. This was a legal play of Meat Cleaver. Cool. So, this guy's still on me, but they don't get a free attack. Oh, this is brutal. I'm never gonna get any experience in this game. I'm gonna get like 1 experience for this. Okay. So, first things first. If I do anything other than evade or attack or the other thing, parlay, resign, stuff like that, I get attacked and I'm 1 away from dying, so I would die. This says gets +3 until the end of the investigation phase. But they engaged me during the monster phase. So is it until the end of the next investigation phase? Like current or next, depending on which comes first? I assume it would be the current or the next. That would be my guess. That would be my guess on this. So fighting is not going to work. Although 2 health, I could definitely take them if they didn't get that +3 fight. I'm not entirely sure. I'm just trying to find the only, like the best thing I could possibly do here. Like, the most likely chance of succeeding, and I think it's just a flat test against 3. 1-up. I don't see anything else. Unless I can fight them. Because I'm fighting at 4. So, if they don't get that +3, until the end of the investigation phase. What does that mean? If anybody in chat knows what this card text mean of the +3 fight until the end of the investigation phase, I'd love to know. I'm going to proceed drawing tokens where I am either choosing to fight or evade, depending on the answer to that question, but I'm not going to wait for an answer because that's slow and I have a show to run. I'm going to draw. If it's 1-up, I evaded. If it is 2-up, then I fought. I'm not saying that I'm, like, changing my choice depending on the success of the thing. I am fighting if the answer is that they don't get their +3. I'm evading if the answer is not. But I'm going to draw the card now, the token. Alright, did I fight them or did I evade them? Bertez says she has the buff, sadly. It's end of the next one. Okay, so it's like the next end of investigation phase, which would be the current one if it happened during the investigation phase, or the next one if it happened outside. Okay. Well, we got lucky. We got a +1. That succeeds. She's evaded. I'm just gonna resign. I'm out. I'm so tempted to pick up these clues. I'm so tempted to pick up these 2 clues. It's DC 5. I'm not succeeding at a DC 5. That's silly. Even with my, like, winging it and fortuitous discoveries, it's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening. I'm leaving. I move down here. Hello, clue that I didn't pick up at the beginning of the game. I resign. I'm out. Bye. Look, Lola's the best investigator. No, I say that as if I'm blaming Lola. I'm not blaming Lola. This was not Lola's fault. If each undefeated investigator has resigned, proceed to if no resolution was reached in the campaign guide. Also, find as many clues as you can, then get out of this awful place. Does this flip? It doesn't imply that it does, but also that is the objective, and I did get out. But it doesn't say if you resign. I assume this doesn't flip. Cool. Let's see what happens. Do not read. If no resolution was reached, and at least one investigator resigned, go to Resolution 1. If no resolution was reached, because each investigator was defeated, go to Resolution 2. I'm going to call that a win. I didn't get much. I didn't learn much. But I'm not dead. Resolution 1. The brisk autumn air embraces you as you exit the manor. There is no doubt in your mind that the cast and crew of the King in Yellow have become affected by madness, including Lola Hayes. Perhaps it's getting to you as well. You feel an encroaching darkness, a presence in your mind not unlike the gaze of the stranger. Startled, you peer about the front yard for the first time since escaping the manor. The scene is different. The front windows are not smashed as they were when you first approached. The trail of blood you had noticed on the porch has been wiped clean, and instead of the disturbingly warped music you had heard upon entering, the soothing tones of slow jazz drift out from the courtyard. In your campaign log, under VIPs interviewed, record the name of each character you interviewed. In the campaign log under VIPs slain, record the name of each unique lunatic enemy in the victory display. Yeah. I killed Ashley. She's dead now. I'm a murderer. Each investigator earns experience equal to the victory X value of each card in the victory display. That's 0. For every 2 clues that were on the act when the game ended, choose an investigator to earn 1 additional experience. Choose an investigator? Holy crap, wow. Experience in this reward must be divided as evenly among the investigators as possible. Proceed to interlude 1, Lunacy's reward. So I did get that, right? That's what this effect was saying. When investigators eliminated, either defeated or resigned, those clues go on here. I had 2 clues, so that's 1 experience. Yay. Wow. Even if you, like, got all of them, if you're playing with a party of 2, that's still only, like, 2 experience each. Wow. There must be something else that happens. There must be something else weird that happens. That's wild. Lunacy's reward. The investigators must decide. Choose 1. Things seem to calm down. Perhaps we should go back inside and investigate further. Proceed to Lunacy's reward 1. I don't trust this place one bit. Let's block the door and get the hell out of here. Proceed to Lunacy's reward 2. If these people are allowed to live, these horrors will only repeat themselves. We have to put an end to this. We have to kill them. Wow. So, big talk. How do you plan on doing that, Lola? You were in there. I mean, you killed one of them, sure, but, like, you're not in a position to fight them. What do you mean we have to kill them all? I'm gonna do that one. I think Lola's unhinged. I'm gonna go with Lunacy's reward 3. You dare not risk stepping back inside the madhouse, but you can't let the monstrosities run amok. I'm gonna read that one again. That one felt weird. Lunacy's reward 3. You dare not risk stepping back inside that madhouse, but you can't let the monstrosities run amok either. You root through the open garage for a few supplies, finding an old hose, an empty gasoline canister, and some matches. Knowing what you must do, you first siphon some gas from Mrs. Dumain's Oakland 654. I don't know how you pronounce car. I don't know how you pronounce car names. 654A, maybe? You spread the gasoline along the front porch, inside the garage, and around the manor's outer wall. From there, all it takes is several matches to start the blaze. You watch from the front yard as the manor is eventually consumed by the flames. The sounds of crackling fire and snapping wood and the screeching of dying horrors fills the street. Satisfied, you head back to your vehicle and tear off towards Southside, full of grim determination. You did what had to be done, right? In your campaign log, record that you slayed the monsters at the dinner party. Mark 1 conviction in the campaign log. In your campaign log under VIP slain, record the names of all 5 VIPs. Yeah, we did it! We win! Give me their experience. No, you didn't get experience for slaying them. You only got experience for getting the clues, so. If not already there, Constance Dumain, Jordan Perry, Ishimari Haruko. Aw, it's a shame she died. She seemed alright. Sebastian Moreau and Ashley Clark. Remove all cultists, tablets, elder things, heart things, weird hearts, from the Chaos Bag. Then add 2 cultist tokens to the Chaos Bag. The story continues in Scenario 3, Echoes of the Past. For the sake, I'll record most of that stuff later, but for the sake of, like, understanding what the impact of that is, we had no cultists, tablets, or hearts. So that's just adding two cultists to the bag. If we did have cultists, it would be a -2 if you fail place one of your clues on your location. So, yeah, They're worse than skulls, generally speaking, is the idea. Thank you all for joining me. This was a dumpster fire, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Tune in next time to see the Garbage Queen! Go to Carcosa. I don't know. What's the next mission? Echoes of the Past. We're all so screwed. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. V says, make sure you check that card you looked at. Alright. Alright, if you say so. We'll take a look at it. Back of this card says, madness. Noun. The state of being mentally ill, especially severely. Extremely foolish behavior. A state of frenzied or chaotic activity. Why are you looking at this side? There is no reason to flip to Act 1B. Flip back to Act 1A. Nice.